Hi friends, and welcome back to Violin Teacher YouTube channel. And today I'm going to continue our study of Bériot's Violin Method. We are at the lesson 3, the third lesson, and Bériot's comments at the top of the page are showing us. By the way, I just wanted to show you. I meant to do this at the beginning. This is the Bériot method for the violin. Now we're using it as a learn how to read thing, but it's also giving us some technique, and it's going really fast as far as reading is concerned, isn't it? So at the top of the page, he's giving us the symbols of the down bow and the up bow, and we already know that, okay? Says when touching the string, the fingers must assume neither a flat nor a perpendicular position. So let's interpret that here. They should be nicely curved so as to avoid contact with the adjacent strings and the interruption of their vibrations. Now I just kind of made a couple videos of exercises for the shape of the left hand. And I think this is what he is kind of referring to here, is that he doesn't want the hand, let's see, neither flat, so he doesn't want the fingers to be flat like this, and he doesn't want them to be like this, really perpendicular, really upright. Those knuckles, they're going to be kind of a little bit slanted back, but still in a kind of square shape. And he says that you should avoid contact with the adjacent strings. Well, that's not always possible, is it? Especially when you have kind of fleshy hands. So, so for example, in the third lesson, I'm looking at line 1. And by the way, I'll just turn my camera a little bit lower here in a second. But I'm looking at the first fingered note, which is first finger on G. And for myself, I can't just not touch the D unless I purposely push the G a little bit over, like this. So sometimes we do that to make sure that the D is clear. But if it's not a problem, you know, if you're not going to try to play like a tunnel one with open D, just playing one on G, then it's okay. Let your fingers touch other strings if that happens to be the way your finger aligns on the fingerboard. Not too concerned. I just want to make this point in that regard, and that is that where you touch, and see, here's your bonus technique. Again, there's always something that comes up in the middle of the video, so always watch to the end because I always go off on some really good tangent. But let's talk about exactly how the finger aligns. See that? It's like the string is in the middle of the fingernail, and then if you do press a little hard, then look at your fingertip, you'll see that the crease should start right in the middle of your fingernail, and it should come towards your thumb a little bit. Okay, so that's the proper angle of your finger in relation to sitting on the string. And as you get further up, it's a little different for third finger. Second finger's about the same. Third finger sets a little bit more, starting a little bit further over on this side, and then it moves, and then the crease slants inwards. And the fourth finger is definitely starting all the way on this side, and goes the crease slants this way. So you can see how the fourth fingernail kind of sets. I get a little better alignment there. It really sets kind of sideways, doesn't it? So that's just the way our hand is built. So in looking at the third lesson, let's just scan this line for a minute. So just looking at this line, you see that these are notes which have stems and they are not colored in. So who can tell me what kind of notes they are? Da, 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 dum. They're half notes. And half notes get 2 beats, 2 quarter beats to be specific. Okay, so the whole line is going to be played with the same rhythmic bowing style. So we're going to, and it's all on the G string. It looks like, well, we have some D string too. We'll get to that. So it's going to be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So we're going to feel that long bow as we change strings and so forth. Okay, I hope that you reviewed lesson 1 and 2 of the Bériot. It's really hot in here, by the way. I'm feeling particularly dewy. But if you want to review so that you're ready for this lesson, look right up here for the first and second videos, which, by the way, are extended videos. The first one's like 45 minutes, so lots of good learning in there. Hope you'll watch it all the way through, and perhaps many times until you get what you need to learn from it. So scanning this line, if you would look in the comments section, or look in the description, you can find a link to a PDF file, and that's what I'm doing. That's the book that I'm doing. So you should print out this page before you do this, follow along in this video, but you need that in front of you, okay? Or this just won't make any sense. And this isn't a video where I teach you the notes note by note. This is, we are learning the notes on the page, so we've got to have that in front of us. So, alright, looking across from left to right, what we see is that we are playing a G, then a D, then a 1 on G, then an open D, then a 2 on G, then an open D, 3 on G, open D, 4 on G, open D, then we do it in reverse and we go down 3 D, 2 D, 1 G, a D, open G. So that's pretty clever. I like that. And it would be really handy if, as you're going through this, you do that scanning, and naming the notes even would be helpful. But at least saying the finger and the string that you're going to play, so you have it in your head, kind of some idea of what's coming ahead for you. Alright, so here we go, lento. I'm going to look that up. I think that's going to mean slowly. Not in any hurry anyway. Even if it said allegro, we aren't going to play it. So just allow me to lower that camera just a little bit before we get started. Alright, welcome back. Now here we go with our half notes starting on G. Ready? Play. G, D, 1 on G, back to D, 2, D, 3, D, 4. Make sure that matches D, 3, D, 2, 1, rest, rest. Good. So just a little bit of technique. Just stop and cross. Take your time as you're doing this exercise. And so that's my suggestion for the bowing. Now in the left hand you really want to get under, because first of all we're playing on the G, and second of all we are required to play a good 4 which matches the D. So now the next line, if we scan this line, you will see that we are predominantly on D and A. So let's scan it now and see what we've got. D, A, 1 on D, A, 2 on D, A, 3 on D, and he gave us the fingers. Thank you, Bériot. A, 4 on D, It's got to match the following open A. And then, and if you look, see, we go down in a stepwise fashion, reversing that pattern of 3, 2, 1, D, alternating with open A. So it's exactly the same exercise. Pretty handy if we do scan. But if you don't scan and you just play along, you may find a little surprise in there. So you just really need to scan a little bit before you start. So here we go. 1, 2, half notes, play. D, A, 1 on D, A, 2, A, 3, A. Good. Nice, good 4, elbow under. 3, 1, rest, rest. And remember that half note rest at the end of the line, and lots of those lines that follow is the little block sitting on the middle line. 2 beats, just like the half note. Right, line 3, let's scan it. Looks a little different, folks. Oh, A and E string this time, okay? So let's really go through this. A, E, 1, E, 2. Oh, didn't give us the fingers that time. So if you want to write it in your music, use pencil, not pen. Always use pencil, never pen. Write a 2 above that note. So you remember. E, then 3, E, then 4, E, then in reverse, 3E, 2E, 1E, A. Okay, so watch the ending. It goes 1, A. So you see the pattern? So we're going to do the same thing on A and E. Here we go. Half notes, ready, go. 1, 2, stop the bow, prepare, that's 3. Now 4, get over. 3. Keep those fingers over the fingerboard. 1. Rest, rest. Now you know, even if you stop following the Bériot for a while, this is a great exercise to do as warm-ups. Do it on all strings. It'll set your left hand really well. So I really like the first 3 lines of the 3rd lesson. So now, looking at the 4th line, notice that he starts 3 on E. Yay! And 4 on E follows. See all those notes at the top of the staff? And here's something that I pointed out to a student this week who is learning to read music. Sometimes, you know, it just doesn't come to you very easily. And so you have to take a little bit more time. But notice how that's way up high and that's way down low. That's way up high, that's down low, high, low, high, low, high, low. So what signal does that give you? I'll move into the camera so you can see me. That gives you the signal that up high is going to be on the E string. In fact, the E, as you may recall, is on the top space of the staff. And I'll just show you what E looks like. It's right there. E is always there, no matter who plays it, on what instrument, that is always E. Okay, well, in the treble clef. I'll just put that out there and leave it. So what I'm trying to say is the previous exercises sort of gave us a little bit of stepwise fashion every other note, didn't it? And now we're going up, down, up, down, up, down. So that will give you a signal about what string you're on, okay? So anything above that top space is going to be on E. Period. No questions. Unless you're in a different position or something and you're playing up on the A string, which we aren't even there yet, are we, guys and gals? So let's scan it now, and for reals we will name what we've got going on here. All right, 3 on E, open A. 4 on E, open A. 3 on E again, open A. So we're crossing strings. 2 on E, open A. 1 on E, open A, E, A, and 3 on A. So don't miss that last note. Here we go. I'm going to push ahead really quick because we have, we're not even halfway done yet. But I'll tell you something about the next 2 lines, and they are probably repeats, just a string over. Well, I can see that coming, but let's just see what we get. Also, I want to point out that in line 4, there's a couple things you might have questions about. Number 1 is a V under the 3. Well, usually I put a bowing above the note. I rarely have seen the bowing under the note, but you know, it's not disallowed. Okay, and then following that is a down bow under the A. So we have to start this up bow. We have to go up bow first on this exercise, so keep that in mind. And then every measure after will follow the same way. Up first, down. And that's really going to be kind of a more comfortable bowing. And if you tried to do it kind of fast, you'd see why. Okay, so but we're not going to do fast stuff on this thing. We're just going to do it nice and slow half notes. Ready, go. 3 on E. 4. Hold those fingers down as you play the opens. 3. Low 2. Regular 1. E. A3. Rest, rest. Good. So also there is a sharp in the middle of that line, which is next to the first finger. So I'll real quick give you a heads up on the, if you look at the key signature, which is all the way over across there, the sharp is required because in its natural state, the E1 is low. You don't need to remember that, okay? I'll tell you it. But you see that sharp? That's a musical symbol I just want to point out to you today. The sharp raises, it's like a tic-tac-toe sign, isn't it? The sharp raises the finger a half a step. Okay, so just remember that. Keep that in your pocket for a second. The sharp raises the note a half step. 1 on E, in its natural state, is here, low 1. Sharp then raises the note half step, so we get it back to our regular 1. Just like 1 plays on all the other strings in this book so far. So if he didn't put that sharp there, we'd have to play a low 1, and that would throw you off a lot right now. So thank you for the F sharp, and we'll leave it at that. Looking at the next line, let's scan it. 3 on A, D, 4 on A, and when you do that, by the way, keep your fingers above the string that we're playing on, and hold the fingers down as you play the D. The 2 is low, it's next to 1. It's a natural 2. It's not a sharp 2, which would, if we had a sharp C, that's a C by the way, if we had a sharp C it would be a whole step from 1. But now it is a low 2, so watch for that. 1 is next, open D, open A, open D, and then 3. So it's sort of the same exercise. Starting up bow, you see that up bow symbol under the note? And that's probably just because, you know, the note is high up, and it didn't have, the first one that he had to mark up bow was a 3 on E, and it, you know, makes the page look messy, I guess, if you have to put the up bow symbol above the note. Really should be above the note. In general, it's above the note. So then he continues to put the up bow marking in. If you just look at the first notes of the next 3 or 4 lines, he continues to put the up bow marking below the note, even if it's low in the staff. And I think that he does that for consistency, so that, you know, you're not seeing up bow markings up and down and all around. It's in the same location, so it's less likely to confuse someone of the level that we're working with in this book. All right, enough talk. Let's start this one now. We're on line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, playing 3 on A. Up bow first. Here we go. Stop the bow and prepare. Hold the 3, place the 4. 3. Low 2. 1. A. D on D3. Rest, rest. Good. Now let's scan the next line. 3, then G, 4. Yep, same as the last one. 3, then open G, 2, and this is going to be low 2 also. 1, open G, open D, open G, third finger. All right, so starting up bow as well. Here we go. Set the 4. Hold those notes. Rest, rest. I didn't call them out to you that time, but you'd done it twice already. Alright, just keeping that G in tune if I can. Now we are looking at the next line that has a lot of notes that are colored in all of a sudden. So no more half notes, quarter notes now. Quarter notes get 1 beat. Quarter notes get 1 quarter beat. I'll move back over here and talk to you a minute. Okay. Quarter notes are colored in. If you're looking at your page, you can see that. And quarter notes have a stem. Sometimes the stem can go up, sometimes the stem can go down, but that doesn't matter. It's still a quarter note. So what determines if the stem is going up or down is the location of the note on the staff. If the note is kind of low in the staff, the stem will probably go up. If the note is kind of high up, then the stem will probably point downward. That's just for the sake of neatness, okay? And if you go like in a stepwise fashion and you're suddenly hitting the middle of the staff, say that middle line, which is B, you can put the stem up or down if you're writing music out. It doesn't matter. You know, just so long as we know it's a quarter note, make the stem go either way. And a composer will usually put the stem in the same direction as all the notes that surround it, unless he's going to continue going up higher. Then he may make the stem change and go downward. Okay, that is stems defined. So let's look at this line now with all these quarter notes and see what we have. Okay. G, D, 2, D. So he skipped the 1. Notice that? If you had just went along playing happily, you may have played 1 there instead of 2, but luckily he put the fingering in. Thank you again to Bériot. You're such a great teacher. Let's start at the beginning of that line. G, D, G2, D, G1, open D, G3. Oh, so he's going 1, 3. He's skipping again. Then back to 2, open D, 4, open D, 3, open D, 1. So see how he's skipping fingers now? Making it a little harder each time. Sneaky. All right, let's try this thing. We're going to keep it slow though, okay? So we're going to start at down bow because I don't see an up bow, do you? So just assume when there's no up bow that you're going to start down bow, and that's a pretty good plan. So we're going to go, just really take your time. 1, 3, 2, 4, reach, 3, 1, half note, rest, rest. So always kind of feel that pulse, that quarter beat going. Whatever your tempo is, you don't want to just change it around, you know, depending on the difficulty of the fingering. You want to keep that pulse going. And then when you hit that half note, you've got to hold out those slow quarter beats until the very end. All right, looking at the next line, it looks like we have the same kind of setup for the next 2 lines. We're over 1 string, we're skipping fingers, we've got, if I leave out all the alternating A's, we have every other note. D, 2, 1, 3. So we go open, 2, 1, 3. We're skipping notes, so really keep your eyes on the page. And any time in this video that you feel like you want to stop the video and do this line a couple times, do it. Do them over and over until you kind of feel like you understand what you've played and you've got all those fingers in a good spot and a good shape of the left hand. So here we are playing D, this is C, from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4th line from the bottom. Ready, play. Low 2. Sorry, I should have warned you about that. Rest. And can you do the bottom, the ending rest to the half note rest with your bow staying on the string until you're finished? That's a really good practice. Because the piece technically hasn't ended until the rest, you know, until you reach the double bar at the end. So the rest is part of the music. And as you go along your way on the journey of violin learning, you will realize that the rest is just as important as the notes around it. Sometimes it defines the emotional content of the phrase. So observe the rests. They are so magical sometimes. All right, we're moving over 1 string again. And so low 2s all the way. So natural 2s, low 2s, natural. No sharps on any of those 2s. All right, and if we played on G, we played a high 2, because that's a B. Natural fingers change up a little bit depending on where the half steps occur naturally. Okay, so there's another little technique. Actually, it's not technique, it's theory. So if you have a keyboard in your house or a piano, just look at the white keys and the black keys. The black keys are in groups of 3 and 2, 3 and 2, 3 and 2. And in between those groups of black keys are 2 white keys that don't have a black key in between. And there's only 2 spots where that happens. And that's easy to remember. So those are natural half steps. And each time it is either B and C together, that pair, or E and F. Okay, B and C or E and F. Now that's pretty easy to remember, but we've got to translate that to what it means on violin. And in terms of just what it means to us in the as relevant to what we're going to play next, that being, or just actually what we just played, that line is 1, 2, 3, fourth from the bottom. You notice that the third note is a second finger on D. That's an F. So E and F, that's one of our natural half step pairs. This is E, and so F has to be a half step from it because there's no black keys in between in its natural state. So if we want this 2 to be a high 2 like Twinkle, we have to have a sharp next to it. And we don't. Okay? Now it's the same on A. This is C. B and C. B and C are our natural, is one of our natural half steps. And as it translates to violin, if there's no sharp next to 2, then 2 has to be low in its natural position. Okay, now B on the G string, and listen guys, you don't need to remember this, just understand it as I'm saying it, okay? Then you can run this video back and listen to it again, maybe get a keyboard in front of you, alright? But B and C and E and F are our natural half steps, and the keyboard, the piano, shows us that easily. But on violin we can't see that. But so we have to name the notes to understand how that works on the violin. So on G, the second finger in its natural state is a high 2, a whole step from 1, because B and C occur on second and third finger. B and C is a natural half step pair, right? It's not E and B, or I'm sorry, A and B. That's a natural whole step, because if you look on your piano, there's a whole step between them. There's a black key in between them. So they're even in their natural state, 1 and 2 on the D are separated. Okay, let's get back to Bériot, and you can just put that aside and maybe come back to it when it becomes more relevant to you when you're playing. But we're on the third line from the bottom, I think. And if we scan it, we're going to go A, E, low 2, E, 1, E, 3, E. Notice we don't have fingerings now. 2, E, and by now you should know your notes, I hope. I hope you've been really practicing. This is a good one to do over and over until you know which fingers you're playing and what notes they are. 4, E, then we do it in reverse. 3, E, 1, E, A. Okay, let me check my G. Okay, we're not playing on G, so I won't worry with that. Here we are, get our hands set up. Playing on A, down bow first, third line from the bottom. Here we go, quarter notes. Low 2. Stop those bows each time before you cross. 4. That could have been better. Rest. Then release. Great. Okay, so work that up. Let's look at this last couple lines here. Did you notice that the last 2 lines on this page are all one exercise? So, what told me that? If you look at that second to the last line, you have no double bar. So that means you have to go to the next line to continue your exercise. So it looks like, if we scan this, we do have to start at up bow. We are going to start on E3, and we are going to go all the way down, doing this crossing bow thing, setting fingers all the way down, and playing on D, and then playing on G until we're finally all the way on G. So what a clever fellow Bériot is. He has done this exercise first at the top in a slow fashion, stepwise fingers. And then he's done that on all the strings. And then he's moved us to quarter notes and skipping fingers, which makes it a little tougher, and did that on all strings. And now it looks like he's going to do a stepwise fashion on all the strings. So what you have to remember is that the low twos occur on all the strings except, let's check and see if he's got a G2 in here. I don't want you to play G2 low. Okay, no, there's no G, there's no fingers on G. So let's look at this. E3, A, E4, A, E3, A, E2, A, E1, regular 1 position, A, E, A, now we're moving over. 3 on A, D, 4 on A, D, 3, D, 2, D, 1, D, open D, 3, moving to G, 4 on D, G, 3 on D, G, low 2 on D, G, 1, G, open D, G, third finger on G. So you see how I'm kind of talking about what the fingers are? I'm telling myself and looking at it, so there are no surprises when I get to playing it. That's what you need to do. And you know, you may need to do it lots and lots of times, but you'll find it gets easier and easier. And the only way it gets easier is by doing it. There's no shortcuts. Okay, so let's play, and remember 2 lines, so let's play from the beginning. Alright, here we go. 3 on E, up bow, ready, play. Keep that 3 down. Low 2. Max is moving my camera, sorry. Low 2. Kind of stay in your upper half. 3. G. 4. 3. Low 2. Half note and stay. Okay, so you have it now. You can listen to it and try to make sense of it by listening to it, but I want you to play that. That has so much technique in it, it would make a good warm-up exercise, so even worth memorizing. Okay, sorry that Max moved my camera and barked during the lesson, but you know what? He lives here. Hope you liked this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, and we will continue to Bériot in the next tutorial.